today we are breaking down Javien Toviano, LSU's highest-ranked defensive back signee in this past class. Comment down below if you feel Toviano could be a year-one contributor for LSU in 2023. And look, this evaluation today is going to be a roller coaster because in the background you see both of his pick sixes. His two interceptions were both returned for touchdowns last season, and we're going to get into what makes evaluating defensive backs so difficult today as well. Now, I'm going to give you a few thoughts on Toviano signing with LSU, him being an early enrollee, which gives him an opportunity to potentially get some playing time, and overall LSU's defensive back room, which wasn't all that deep, is now actually kind of sort of deep. So is LSU even going to need Toviano to play corner at all next year? Because, of course, they have J.K. Johnson. They also have Deuce Chestnut and Zy Alexander, with my favorite of the four, Denver Harris, coming in to play corners as transfers. And they also have LaTerrence Welsh coming back next year. Also, what makes Toviano very interesting is he does have a ridiculous amount of special teams highlights, including this right here. Bang! And you're looking at the four major services recruiting rankings on Toviano, and you could see three of them has him as a top 100 player. What's interesting, though, is he once was a 247 composite 5-star, and he did lose that 5-star ranking. So what happened? I think a few things, right? You know, we did the Shelton Sampson breakdown where he also slid in the rankings, but LSU also had some players shoot up the rankings as well. Pimpton, Wes Weeks, our breakdown on him. He was actually our last one. And Lance Hurd is one that actually shot up, as did Deshaun Womack. And Toviano didn't slide a whole lot, but about 30 slots on the composite. And this is actually my favorite play. He beats everybody down the field on this kickoff. And watch this. Just amazing stuff. He gets his hand in here to strip the football out of the kick returner's hand at the 1-yard line. And you get essentially a free touchdown thanks to his hustle on special teams. This is a guy who interviews well. And, man, he is a really, really fun player to watch. Looking at you, yes, you. Hope you subscribe and ring the bell. We are on the way to 9K. There's a lot of different ways you could support, including our growing PHL Patreon. So, I'm going to show you this rep right here versus Carmelo English. He is a 4-star wide receiver committed to Michigan, and you'll see right here, Toviano just dominates him. We'll roll it back just one final time here. And Toviano is a very competitive guy. And look at him just get his hand right in to where the football was. Just excellent, excellent, excellent stuff. We do that. This is actually Andrew Ivins of 247, one of my favorite high school talent evaluators. He actually had Toviano as one of the best corners at the Under Armour All-American game, but he also said none of the corners really separated themselves from the pack. So here's Toviano going head up against Nicholas Harbor, a 5-star receiver, and you see Toviano gets burned pretty badly here. Okay, now Harbor has to wait for it, and the one thing I didn't like right here from Toviano, and this is something that I've seen from his game, is that he never actually turns his head back to find the football. But that happens when you get beat this badly. But then again, before I finish out this rep right here, Nicholas Harbor is the fastest player this cycle, running a 10-3 100 meter. He is an absolute freak of nature. There's nothing wrong with getting burned by this guy. You just like to see him turn his head and actually find the football. And you see his ball skills are actually okay. He almost got his hand in there to make that play. It was just a hair off timing-wise. But this was a matchup that Toviano did not shy away from. He went up against Nicholas Harbor quite a bit. This right here is via Shea Dixon. The last few clips, one was Rivals, another was On 3. And once again, it's just Nicholas Harbor just being a freak. There's a reason why he is arguably my favorite player, period. He's going to South Carolina. And you'll see, well, we're going to just play the rep and then slow it down. It's just a foot race, and you're just not going to win this foot race. The ball was a poorly thrown football. And once again, Toviano didn't get his head around. Where this rep was lost, though, is especially if you're going up against a bigger guy, you're in press man against a guy who runs a 10, 300-meter. Boom. Very violent swipe down right there. Good job, getting the DB's hands off of you. And, now it's just a foot race. This was actually not bad, though, from Toviano. I mean, the ball is poorly thrown, and he actually does get his hand in there and make it very difficult. But once again, it was not a well-thrown football. This is Shea Dixon once again going up against Noah Rogers. Okay, one thing I didn't like about this rep is I don't know why these people are out here. I doubt the footage this guy's getting is really great. But you see this DB coach kind of throws a timing off for the quarterback and the receiver. He's just in the way. But overall, I mean, look at this rep. Now, this is just perfect, okay? You can't play DB any better than this. You get out of your break right here, and now you get your hand on him. Notice, unlike Harbor, Rogers does not swipe Toviano's hand off of him. You see, he gets physical, and now he turns his head and finds a football. So even if this was, a well-thrown ball, it is a little late, and it is a little high. You'll see right here, Toviano get in there and make a play. That's just excellent stuff. I'm looking at you. I'm making sure you are still awake. That was Toviano at the LSU versus Alabama game. That was a lot of fun, and now you're looking at a photo of Toviano wearing an LSU hat on a Texas A&M visit. Now, I'm about to show you my favorite Toviano play of the season, and the funny thing is he did not put this on his senior highlight reel because this play ended up resulting in a touchdown. But before I show you that, there is an important distinction that needs to be made about him, is that he will play corner at LSU to start off his career. You're looking at a conversation he had with Shea Dixon, and according to Toviano, they're going to try him out at corner, which is a position he played for the most part at Martin High School in Texas. But On3 and many others, including myself, feel he is best served as a safety. Now, with Kylan Jackson and a bunch of other safety prospects in the fold already, I do feel LSU wants to see if Toviano can actually work out at corner. And what's interesting about that is Ryan Yates, who is also a four-star defensive back, who is also an Under Armour All-American. He also is listed as a safety, and he mostly played corner in Texas. And I think there is a reason, because for the most part, it is easier to find corners, it's easier to find players to play safety than it is to play corner, because corner is such a rare skill set. Now, what is this play? Well, this was a deep pass play versus Lake Travis. This is the season opener. And watch this. Bang. That is one of the more impressive hustle plays you are going to see, okay? So it's not Toviano that actually got beat right here. This ball is a duck. It is underthrown. We're going to talk about this. Martin High School, they actually did blow a lot of teams out. They only lost 2 games on the season, but I felt their defense was not well structured. I'll show you a few other plays regarding that in just a second. But see, Toviano did not give up on this play. He hustles this guy down, sucks him up, and pause. But he does, and the video is literally pause, he does catch him, and then once again, kind of like that kickoff return you saw earlier, look at him getting the hand in there to strip this football loose, okay? That is excellent. Now, it gets a little unlucky that the receiver actually followed up on the play, but we want to try and strip that ball, get a touchback, see if there's someone else that can get a fumble recovery on our team. It's just very unfortunate. What a freaking hustle play by that guy, and that shows me a freaking lot right there. So, I saw some other plays where I thought Toviano's motor got turned off just a little bit, but for the most part, this guy plays really, really, really hard, and that shows me a lot of his character. And once again, a lot of the touchdowns that I felt this defense gave up was more so based on structure and scheme, okay? Once again, this is nothing you could do. I like this hustle right here, once again, by Toviano to try and chase this down from behind. But yeah, normally I save my favorite play for the end, but those hustle plays really show me a lot. Now, I'm going to show you the only game that I thought Toviano really struggled, and it was actually one of their 2 losses on the season. They lost a playoff game to Louisville 10-0, but this was actually versus Allen, Texas earlier in the season, okay? The first play here is actually really good. The quarterback actually breaks the initial rush, and he actually spies him down and forces him to go out of bounds. That's some good stuff. This one, and I thought defensively, since they're such a talented team, when you blow a lot of teams out, scheme isn't really all that important. This was just a brilliant job coaching from Allen, Texas, okay? And this is going to be a big thing for Toviano as he moves along in his career, okay? So Nick Saban has done a lot of really good lectures on how to defend something called trips bunch. Now, normally you see trips bunch closer to the line of scrimmage. 2019 LSU did a lot of that. Look at the Terrace Marshall touchdown. And what that actually does is it causes a lot of coverage bust. Now, how do you defend trips bunch? Well, there is a few different ways to play man coverage versus trips bunch. There's something called MEG, which means man everywhere he goes. So that means Toviano's man is this guy, 13's man is this guy, and this guy's man is this guy. And no matter where they go, it is your responsibility. That is what you think of when it's traditional man coverage. Another way to defend it, which is actually a more popular way to defend trips bunch in a tight bunch formation, is by passing off routes. So if this receiver goes this way, 13 picks him up. If this receiver goes straight ahead, Toviano picks him up. And if this receiver goes this way, this man picks him up. What actually happens here on this third down, though, is the point receiver actually goes this way. Toviano passes him off thinking the safety is going to pick him up, and instead, this receiver actually drew 2 players, and you see this is wide open on the backside. Now, maybe this safety should have been the one to pick this up. That could have been the call. Hey, safety on this side of the line of scrimmage, this is your responsibility. Maybe he should have been more center field. I highly doubt it. This was a coverage bust. Now, is that on Toviano? I don't know what the call is. But there was a lot of this. Now, this is a different type of mistake where it is a little bit more concerning. Remember, Toviano struggles turning his head around. This is straight man coverage, press man. There is no safety up over the top. This is an easy pre-snap read for the quarterback. We're just throwing this over the top, and you'll see this ball is actually really well thrown, and Toviano commits a clear pass interference penalty right here. You see he panics. This guy doesn't really have him beat. He's with them. You see he gets a little tug right there. He's pulling him, and then he gets his body into him instead of actually turning his head, and that's got to be pass interference. So now we get to this play, and this time they say, look, we're doing a MEG call, right? Man everywhere he goes. So Toviano's man is this guy. This guy's man is 13, and this guy's man is this inside receiver. This is a tough ask for 13 to guard the deep post. This is just a well-designed play. You would think the backside safety is supposed to stay back and pick up anything going over the middle, but he doesn't, okay? But Toviano is swallowing his man whole. This guy is swallowing his man, but you see all the space for 4 to run into. Really well-designed play. So, this scheme was just not well put together in my estimation, okay? And here we go. It's been working all game. Why do we do it again? All right? This time it's not a med call. We get a bad miscommunication again. So Toviano lets 82 run. He picks up the outside route, and the mistake here, I think, is actually made by 13. I think 13 was supposed to pick up the middle route. Maybe Toviano's guy is this, and you see, look at that. It's wide open for a tutty, right? Allen won that game based off of one formation, trips bunch, and college coaches and players struggle adjusting on the fly. Now, I'm going to show you one extra play. This is actually my second favorite Toviano play that I charted outside of his highlight tape. You saw the first one a little bit earlier. This is once again a high school playoff game versus Louisville. Now, yesterday you saw with Whit Weeks, him going up against four-star athletes at Carver High School, right? We saw him yesterday, and if you want to see it, I highly recommend you check it out. Whit Weeks making a huge play versus Darren Reed, the former LSU commit. And once again, check out all our deeper breakdowns. We've done one on Lance Hurd. We've done one on Shelton Sampson. And this right here is some ridiculous football from Javien Toviano. So you guys just saw the play. What they're doing here is they're actually running a screen. And once again, this is a play where the Martin team is caught in a really bad spot. So they motion this guy. A lot of pre-snap motion. It's what Andy Reid and the great play callers do, the Shanahans, the Sarkisians of the world. Pre-snap motion to get a guy out from this side of the play, and they're running a screen with the tight end slipping across the formation, and boom, okay? Look at all these black jerseys over here. Look at all these black jerseys up here, and you see we are outnumbered. There are only two people that could make this play. We have this linebacker right here, and we have Javien Toviano. So, Toviano has to not only take on one of these big bodies, he's got to take on two offensive linemen. It's a good throw, and two things actually end up happening. Number one, this DB, or this wide receiver, whiffs the block on the linebacker, okay? This is very much like Patrick Queen saving our national championship hopes versus Clemson. He was able to slip the block of, I believe, Lorenzo Cain, and he made a touchdown saving tackle versus Etienne. You guys are seeing the clips. So, 22 actually is the one that ends up making this play. But what I want you to do is look at Toviano right here. These are two 300-pound bodies coming right at him. Watch this. Boom. Look at him getting physical, getting his hand on this guy. He takes on him, and now he's got to take on this big dude. Boom. He takes him on, squeezes his play down, and because the backer was able to stick with the play, he's able to make the tackle. That was excellent stuff. Now, the only thing I would have done, or what I would have liked to have seen, is after this, Toviano actually ended up getting a piece or just falling down and making a pile right here. But still, I mean, you just can't squeeze that play down any better than what he did right there. And he helped 22 make that play. So as you can see via LSU Sports, his senior year was fantastic. And remember, he was an outside corner, so there were just big periods of time where they weren't even throwing his way. And quite honestly, I had to really look to find situations where he was just flat out beat in a game. It rarely happened. Really, that pass interference penalty you saw earlier was one of the few times that it even came close to happening. He was a really good player. Maybe I missed something. You guys feel free to send me some clips. But these highlights in the background from Devin Messenger actually include some sophomore Toviano highlights from when he went up against Quinn Ewers in South Lake Carroll. Quinn Ewers, of course, a five-star quarterback who now starts at Texas. And you see just everything on special teams, which is really freaking impressive. Kind of like Whit Weeks yesterday. And I highly recommend you check out the other deep dives. Now, I'm going to give you my final thoughts here. And on Patreon, once again, sign up for the PHL Patreon. You can see my final grades are out on Sampson and Hurd. Coming up soon, I'm going to give you my final grades on Weeks and Toviano as prospects. But the simple truth is this guy is a very, very good football player. He really pops off the page. Physically, he looks like a Division I guy. It looks like he's playing the game at a really high level. Now, is he better suited at safety or corner? I shared a little bit earlier that I do feel he is better at safety, but I do think he could be a Division I corner if some things do get better. His overall speed gets better. His ability to turn his head when the ball is in the air, maybe that needs to get better when he makes that leap. The good news, though, is they might not even need him to be a year one guy because of the trustworthy transfer portal. We mentioned the 4 transfer portal DBs, including Denver Harris coming in. Those guys will probably take up, the cornerback spots. But I do think LSU would like to develop one of their own corners coming out of high school, which is something that Brian Kelly specifically mentioned about the defensive back room as a whole. And keep in mind, Toviano is not the only corner coming in. Maybe Ashton Stamps or Jeremiah Hughes is one of those corners that step up and play year one. We'll see. But I do think Toviano is a very talented defensive back who has a great head on his shoulders and just loves playing the game of football. You can hear him in interviews really just kill it. And I am really excited about that. This guy really loves LSU as well. I know his recruitment was played close to the vest, but from start to finish, it was pretty clear LSU was in the lead, thus us showing you his hat and the clip from earlier. So I'm very excited he is going to be a big piece for what Brian Kelly and Matt House are building, whether that be at safety, corner, or nickel, and early on as a special teamer. So comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you feel Toviano is a year one type of guy? So once again, floating in your face here in just a second, you will get to click on the other videos, and you can watch some of our other prospect breakdowns. And tonight, we are doing Cajun pasta. Let's go.